meeting order. Please rise for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Number 3, any citizen desiring to be heard.
I was hoping to talk a little bit about bridge inspection, if that's all right.
Sure.
So, Guy Engineering was recently selected to be on the pre-qualified list for bridge inspections. We've been doing bridge inspections for 25 years now. We've inspected over 10,000 bridges in the past, or performed 10,000 bridge inspections. We're currently doing over 1,000 a year. We're doing all the city of Tulsa's. We're doing a lot of municipalities. We're doing a lot of counties. We've got 5 certified team leaders for bridge inspection. 4 of them are professional engineers, and 1 of them is an engineering intern. We're also backed up by 3 technicians that help them put all the documentation together. We've also got some other people on our team that kind of can help when they need assistance. We've got in-house land surveyors, CAD technicians. We've got 6 certified floodplain managers in our office, which can help identify issues. A lot of them are on our bridge inspection team, so when they're out there, they can have some different tools in their tool belt to look at problems maybe a little bit differently. We've also got certified utility relocation coordinators. They're certified through ODOT. If any issues with that come up, we're really good at looking at that kind of stuff. We want to give you accurate on-time inspections. Our guys have been doing it for a long time. They know what they're looking at. They're striving to make sure that we're getting stuff done on time. We don't miss our deadlines for these. They're going to get done on time. If people have to work a little bit, a few extra hours a week, they're going to do it to make sure that we're getting our work done on time. Their experience working together. Our team leaders, our 5 team leaders, have an average of 1,800 bridges that they've inspected each. They're going to inspect in harsh conditions. They're going to get down in the water. They're going to put waders on. We've got boats, waders, probes, all kinds of stuff to make sure that if we can't see something, we're going to get down in there and make sure we can feel what's going on and check for any scour. We're also going to make sure that if we see something in the field, we're not going to wait till it's time to turn in our packet and say, hey, you had all these problems. We're going to call you immediately. And if there's something that you need to see, we're going to call you. If you can't make it, maybe your foreman can come out and look at something. If we've got something that's of serious enough of a nature to look at right then, we're going to let you know. We've inspected all kinds of different bridges. We've used snooper trucks. We've seen about every kind of bridge that Oklahoma has to offer. We'd like to be considered. If you guys are doing solicitations, we'd love to be considered for an interview. We think we can provide an excellent service. We're going to get some really good deliverables. We're going to provide you, books, CDs. We're going to give you a lot of pictures. I've seen some reports where you only get, 2-3 pictures. There's a minimum of 2 pictures. We don't feel that that's the correct way to do it. If we see an issue, you're going to get a picture of it. There's going to be as many pictures in there as we think you need to see, so you can go pull your information and look and see what's going on. If you want GIS maps, we'll give you the GIS map. You can upload it to your phone. You can see all your bridge information from your phone. See your bridges, pull them up on the map, click on it, and put in, put whatever information you want in there to be able to pull up from your phone. We're going to give you a couple different ways to look at your bridges. You're going to be able to see them by, sufficiency rating, and then we're also going to do the bridge number. So you can pull up a document if you just want to see your sufficiency rating in order. You'll get a digital copy and you'll get hard copies of it. So.
All right, we hear you. If we interview, we'll definitely give you a call. So.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other citizens desiring to be heard? Number 4, consideration of possible action on approving minutes October 13th, 2017.
So make the motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
5, open seal bid 2018-9 Waterloo overlay project and consideration of possible action on awarding said bid.
Mr. Chairman, while Troy's digging those out, I'd like to compliment her on helping us put together a bid proposal that reads kind of like a Chinese finger puzzle. There's a lot of, there's 3 different parts to this proposal, and it allows the county the most flexibility on funding it and getting it done at the best price.
Thank you. We received 3 bids. A pre-bid conference was a mandate of the specs that was held October the 16th. We had 4 qualified vendors at that meeting that qualified by their appearance. That was Haskell Lemon, TJ Campbell, Atlas Paving, and Logan County Asphalt. As a result of that pre-bid conference, an addendum to the bid was sent out. To remain a qualified vendor, they had to acknowledge the addendum. Of the 4 qualified vendors, all but Logan County Asphalt acknowledged the addendum. We are in receipt of bids from the 3 qualified vendors, Haskell Lemon, TJ Campbell, and Atlas Paving.
Don't have to stay.
So in these, we're going to see 3 different options, and they include the county doing various pieces of it. Option 1 is the contractor does everything. I have Atlas Paving, option 1. And then each option also, we've got a mile's worth of millings to do, where they're going to mill a mile of road, of course, 2 inches deep. One figure is with the county removing the millings, and the other figure is with the vendor removing the millings. And what I would propose is that these millings, if it's going to be, it appears it'll be less expensive with the county removing the millings, and that's also, I think, a benefit to the county. So if anybody in our board that wants to show up with trucks and catch millings, if you catch it in your truck, it belongs to you. Is kind of the way I'm going to look at the bid. So that would be in the best interest of the county to do it.
Can I borrow your tricks?
Yeah, for a nominal fee. Okay, so Atlas, I've got $226,980 with the county on option 1 with the county removing millings. $232,980 with the vendor removing the millings. That's option 1. Option 2, is I believe where we do the deep patching. Yeah. And option 2 with Atlas is $153,980 if the county removes the millings, and $159,980 if the vendor removes the millings. Option 3 is where the county would lay the asphalt and purchase it from the vendor. And then the vendor does purchase the tack oil and does the milling
I believe the striping's included.
And the striping is also included, yes, ma'am. So option 3, with the county catching the millings, is $130,780. With the vendor catching the millings, is $136,780.
Wow. That's Haskell, right?
No,
That's Atlas.
That's Haskell.
this is Haskell in here.
Haskell, and is this option 1? With the county catching millings, $237,068.20. 20 cents.
Gotta get that 20 cents.
With them removing the millings, $244,812.20. With option 2, with the county catching the millings, $174,668.20. With them catching the millings, option 2, $182,412.20. Option 3, county catching the millings, $133,868.20. And with the vendor catching the millings, $141,612.20.
T.J. Campbell.
Okay, Campbell Construction, option 1, $224,196. With the county catches and millings, $231,196. If the vendor catches. Option 2, $191,196. If the county catches the millings, $198,196 if the vendor removes them. Option 3, if the county removes the millings, $173,196. If the vendor removes them, $180,196.
Ted Hart.
One of the qualifiers for this bid is we have an agreed budget with the city of Edmond for $150,000 not to exceed. Actually, with them not to exceed half of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we can put in more if we wanted to.
That includes, it doesn't include shouldering up, I guess. Shouldering up, put some PVC, I mean, yes,
No,
B down on.
it does not.
Okay.
With the board's consideration, I'm going to recommend Atlas option 2 with the county catching the millings. And also,
So for $153,980?
yes, sir. I'll throw in the extra $3,980.
So is that a motion?
Before we do that, may I see that bid, please?
Yes, ma'am.
We need to be clear that the requirement also was that there was which I'm sure there is, I just want to be clear because they are to have a bid bond. And they do. And Marvin, if you don't mind, I'm gonna
Go ahead, ma'am.
clarify what each of these items are and what you're motioning to accept. Because this bid was broken down into items, so I want to make sure I'm clear in the minutes, if you don't mind. Option 2, with the county removing the millings, includes that the vendor will provide a 2-inch deep milling of Waterloo Road between Santa Fe and Kelly. They'll provide 1,600 gallons of tack oil. They will lay in place 2,400 tons of type S4 super pave, and they will apply the traffic markings to be consistent with the miles on either side, as well as providing the traffic control during the milling. The county will provide the vehicles and remove the millings for $159,980. Is that right?
153,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, I read the wrong one. $153,980 with the county removing the milling.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then also the county's responsible for doing the deep patching and crack sealing under that option, right?
Yes, actually, that item was removed for these options because the county was going to do it. It wasn't a vendor option.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's our responsibility to do any deep patching that's required after the millings. And so we'll coordinate with the vendor for time to do that between the time it's milled and the time it's overlaid. The county will need time to get in there and do that, do those repairs. So with that, if you guys are good with helping on the truck, because I don't have enough trucks to do it all, to catch it all.
I'll send what I got.
Okay. Mike, you want to do
what I got.
Okay. Then I'll
Probably 2 dump trucks.
I'll move we do that.
Okay. I'll second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
They can catch your belly dumps too, Mike.
Yeah, I'll send 3 belly dumps and dump 3. So. Number 6, consideration and possible action on approving a letter of supporting Center Fire Department as a first responder agent. What's this about?
My fire department, actually for my house actually, but Jeff Ware has a lot of first responders now that are trained in everything, and so they applied to be a first responder status. This is the first time that application has had that they want something from the county commissioners. So this is a resolution saying that specific thing.
The Oklahoma State Department of Health requires for a department to be recognized as a first responder status that they receive a letter of support from the governmental entity within where the boundary of the department. And so this letter was drawn up just to state that the board supports the first responder status for Sooner Fire Department.
Tell you what, that Jeff Ware is something else. He has really pulled that fire department together, and I'm really proud of him.
So, I mean, I don't mind supporting an effort if I can understand what the effort was. I mean, what have they done to reach of what we're signing off on?
They have 3 EMTs and 3 EMRs, and so they're able to do first responder for residences now. They've been certified. He's gotten a ton of training on those guys, and they're continuing to be trained.
I think that's part of the criteria is you got to have EMTs.
Okay.
So I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Seven is consideration of possible action on requesting of MCI Metro.
Yeah.
What's this, Martin?
Well, I was contacted via phone and email, and I believe Mike was as well. But these guys want to use our county road right-of-ways for their telecommunication lines. And I got, I don't suspect you brought a copy of what was.
I have a copy of the letter that was addressed to you, a copy of the letter that was addressed to Mike. I think they're identical except
believe
for
so.
that. And here's two original copies of the right-of-way agreement.
Right, and so they have since called me this late last week and said that they would pursue this in another manner. But the reason I wanted the board to look at it was he used the term take legal action if we didn't approve it. So I guess,
I like that.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Friendly negotiation.
yeah. So I thought that, you know, the three of us together is a lot smarter than I am on this, so I thought we'd bring it here and talk about it.
So everything's fiber optic these days, you know, the up and coming age is the age of fiber optics apparently, and they are in competition with AT&T. And the Constitution of Oklahoma guarantees that these public utilities can use our right-of-way, so
Is that a public
for
utility?
communication. It'll be for public access for telecommunications, yes.
I mean,
I say public utility, it's the same type of utility as AT&T, is my understanding. They're just going into competition. So we may have more of them coming through, I don't know, somewhere.
Well, here's
That constitution needs to be changed, I
This
think.
talks about, you know, using the right, and using private property and negotiating with private property owners as well. I'm not sure I mean, unless Verizon is listed as a public utility that is, I mean,
I think we need to check that.
I agree.
But, I mean,
Yeah, I do too.
just the wording of it, use our right of way, I mean, not at their leisure. I mean, they're gonna follow our guidelines and our rules.
Exactly.
And that's why I don't understand, let's just take AT&T. If we go out here and put in a new culvert, and 9 times out of 10, they plow their phone lines through our culverts. So they run our culverts, but when we dig it up, we cut a phone line. How come we're responsible when in our road crossing permits and our rules and guidelines say the phone line has to be within 4 foot of the fence? Why would we be liable to pay damages on a phone line that's in the middle of the road when it's supposed to be 4 foot from the fence?
They got fiber optic that way as well.
I know they did, because I've cut them.
And the state put in fiber optic along right there in the bar ditch in our road, but we got them to move it over there to I-35 before we started working on the road.
I don't mind them using it, but they got to follow our guidelines, but I think they need to prove that they're a public utility. And
well, the other thing was, like I said, late last week, the guy called and asked to have this withdrawn from our board's consideration. But I still wanted to bring it to the board and discuss it, because I think it's something we need to talk about. So there's really no action as far as approving it, because they said that they would go to a trust board, some sort of a trust board. And I don't know if they were talking about our county trust, but if he is, our county trust has nothing to do with our right of way. And then he was talking about having his lawyers pursue legal action to force the county to do something. And I said, well, you know, that sounds like fun. So
I think it just depends upon whether they're in the Constitution or not, if they're included with AT&T or not. And I agree with you, that's something that Lloyd needs to look at.
well, am I wrong, the way I understand it, that they, say AT&T or Pioneer, whoever can use our right of way for their lines, but they got to follow our guidelines. And if they don't follow our guidelines, I don't know why we're responsible for all these repairs.
I think that's the stance of ACO and our legal representation on that. So
If they follow the guidelines, they won't get killed.
that's fact.
They will, but not as
I
often.
got one tin horn now to dig up, see if they
But yeah,
did
that's
ruin it.
this. I mean, it's something I'll check into. So no action on
To give it to them.
7.
Right.
Alrighty, number 8, consideration of possible action on approving work order notice to proceed to OG&E for utility relocation for Coal Train Road.
Mr. Chairman, this is hopefully the last time we'll have to do any type of action on Coltrane Road and on utilities. This is to finally move the OG&E poles over to where they were trying to plant them on gas lines in that north 2 miles of the Coltrane Road project. And they finally got their engineering done, where they want to put them, and so I recommend we approve.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Number 10, consideration on possible.
9.
Nope. 9, consideration on possible action on approving ODOT assignment of claim to Coates Field Service for right-of-way services for Crescent Creek Bridge Project JP blah blah blah.
Lonnie, this being your district, you would sign here and here, and then this is the board approval here.
I'll move we approve.
So,
All in favor?
Aye. I'm gonna step out for just a second.
The boss is gone.
good stuff.
There it goes. Oh yeah, you're right.
Makes a heck of a county manager, doesn't she?
Alrighty, 10. You want to wait on her or you want to proceed?
I think we probably ought to wait on her for this one. She's up to her elbows in this one with me. So
Probably all of us.
I kind of instigated it.
Instigating things again?
I keep asking questions that the people, first response I get back was, well, no one's ever asked that question before. You know what I'm talking about, sir?
I know what you're talking about.
Alright, I move with
I'm going to talk about 10.
Alright, Troy, 10, consideration of possible action concerning the county road standards related to plats and sub-additions for public roads.
So, Mr. Chairman, this started with, when I asked a question, when we had to look flats here the last time, whether or not they were completed. If those plats that were given to us were all public roads and privately maintained, but they were indeed public roads. And at the time, it wasn't the time to talk about it and have the discussion, but at the time in my mind, I thought I'd read somewhere where all public roads had to be, in a county, all public roads had to meet county road standards if one had been adopted by the county. And that would include those. So wrote a note to Lowell, and Troy was going over to talk to him, and so I sent some questions with him and for him, and he came back. She also sent references of some things that we've been going by here in the county, you know, as far as those plats are concerned. And then Lowell pulled a Lowell rabbit out of the hat. There was a statute that has to do with county clerks that became apparent that was a part of this as well. So I think to summarize what Lowell has said, and I kind of agree with, is that even though there are two things the county commissioners, board of commissioners should look at when somebody's bringing a plat in. One, if the board of commissioners agrees to maintain or not to maintain the roads. I think there's an acknowledgement on there that, you know, the county commission, mostly we say the county commissioners won't maintain the roads. But there should be another acknowledgement, since the county has adopted a road standard, that those roads will, when they're built, will meet the county road standards that we've adopted.
I'm with you so far.
And that those are the two things.
Well, my thinking is, anytime when if we was to accept a housing addition for county maintained roads, I think we're taking away from our section line roads, because now we're spending time and resources in that sub-addition.
I agree 100% with you on that.
But I mean, I get it, they're taxpayers, but I also get that they bought in a sub-addition. They didn't buy on a section line. But back to the our county standards that was adopted in 1975. I mean, I hate to say that, but we don't even meet our own standards.
Exactly.
So that brings up a question. So is that the standard that we build roads to, or is it the standard that ACO and that they say that that's our road standards when we're applying for funds, or we're doing? I mean, ODOT says we've got a set of county road standards, that we meet county road standards, right? When they say county road standards, they're talking about the ones that ACO and ODOT put together.
And
So-
also off the federal guidelines for the CERB.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I agree with all that. So I guess, you know, I believe there's some question as to what road standards the county has adopted, because we have, under duress maybe, had to adopt that set of state standards that were forced on the county for the county road standards as well. So in any event, I believe that as plats come in, that Lowell said there's several ways that we can require a builder to show good faith on building the roads according to road standards. And every one of them, except for just having them make the statement that they will build them according to standards, requires a lot of work on the county clerk's part. For example, we could have them put a bond up, but, you know, bonds need to expire, and, you know, the bond could expire before the roads are built. I mean, because you can't put a timeline on the you know, when they're going to build them, those sorts of things. But my point, and what I'm trying to get at, is I think that we owe the people in those housing additions at least some reassurance that their roads aren't going to fall apart 2 months after they move in and they've been deserted, and now it is our problem. I mean, whether we want to say it isn't or isn't, is or isn't, it becomes our problem, because, you know, those are people that live in our county, and then they come to us and want our help to fix their roads.
Well, how many of these plats that we sign off on, how many of them have a 60-foot easement for roads? I bet you very few of them. And that's part of our standards. It says it shall be 60 foot.
Yeah, I understand.
Curb and guttered.
I mean, all of our roads are curb and gutter, right?
I agree,
It
but
does say curb and gutters, yeah.
the standard says it would need to be curb and guttered or have a 60-foot easement with grassed in. And I mean, this was adopted in 1975.
Right.
I mean,
I remember
Rob
seeing that.
Hudson
yeah.
saying that we're not beholden to the standards of prior commissioners, that each set of commissioners makes their own standards. A public road is a public road. There's private roads as well, and some of these additions come in as private roads, and those will never be accepted. I had Three Creeks over there, they had hit me up about doing that, but they were a private road, and they were not willing to go to a lawyer, get it reestablished or anything like that. So it's all laid upon them.
Do they not allow school buses and postal delivery?
Their postal delivery is on Midwest, and they've got one of those metal stands.
I mean, do they have a
And
gated?
School buses don't go down it, to the best of my knowledge.
So-
I don't know that for a fact. It's up to
the
school
difference
buses.
between a public road and a private road is a matter of fact, not law.
That's correct.
So-
And when you get a plat in, it says whether it's going to be a public road or whether it's going to be a private road.
Right, so
We have Dan Minders down here, he's putting in all kinds of additions, but he's putting gates on them, and when you see his plat, you see that it's private road. Four Corners and their people too. I try to make sure, but I've been remiss in it in making sure those are private roads.
Right, but
I
not
told them
all of it.
past that it needs to be private roads.
very few of the plats we come in are gated communities.
That's right.
I
Very,
agree.
very few of them are gated
So
communities.
let's just
About half
say
of
an
my
example. Let's say
section.
that someone brought a plat in and it's going to be maintained by them,
Mhm.
not the county.
Right.
But they bonded the whole 9 yards to meet county standards. Let's say in 10 years, when that bond's up, then they come and ask the county to make, well, it don't meet county standards.
That's right.
Well, no, that's why they have to put, we have them put and it's a requirement of the statute that if it's a public road,
Mm-hmm.
a public road privately maintained, it can be privately maintained to be a public road.
That's right.
Okay. But if it's a public road, it has to meet county road standards that have been adopted by the county. It says that it has to. It doesn't say may. It's a. We're supposed to be doing that right now.
Yeah, Rob Hudson ruled that each set of commissioners has to reestablish
Yeah,
that
I'm not
standard, because
sure.
that's not in statute.
I'm not sure what Rob Hudson said or didn't say, but he's not here to talk about it. So
Okay.
what we've talked to Lowell about this, and Lowell
Sure.
is
Yeah, I haven't
we
read
need to put it on our plats. Or should put it on our plats. There's two concerns of the county commissioners when we look at plats. He said, one, whether or not the county's going to maintain the roads, yes or no, and two, whether or not that the other one is an affirmation by the builder that the roads meet county road standards.
Mm-hmm.
Troy, am I off on that?
I don't think so.
Mhm.
In what limited research I've had on this, this is where I think we are. I think in 1975 is what created this county, the mandate to create a county road standard. And I get that actually by the resolution that was passed by the board at that time. It says, whereas the 1975 legislature of the state of Oklahoma did enact House Bill 1431, which requires that each county in Oklahoma adopt minimum road standards for streets. So something happened in 75 to bring this about. To create these standards. What I have not been able to determine, and I'm going to, is if the standards that are listed in this resolution was set out by the state. And I suspect that they were. But we also need to remember that that was prior to the development of SERB and stuff that has taken place since then, and this development of these other county road standards that are mandated to use the SERB and/or federal funds. And I do think that they are totally a separate deal. I suspect that this resolution that established these was more along that line than because there's not a concrete road in Logan County. I mean, to be honest, for these standards, these standards, they're nowhere in the county.
Oh, I have one.
As far as the plats go, and I want to believe it was 2002, which is the statute that Lowell pulled out. In Title 19, 288.1, which is in the county clerk statutes, it mandates that before a plat can be filed by the county clerk, it must be stated whether the roads will or will not be maintained by the county. And I think that happened that statute came about in 2002, at which point the county clerk's office was directed the procedure for plats, and that was, and what we have followed to this day, that a developer is required to bring their plat to the county clerk's office. It is to be observed by the clerk and verified that the specifically says that the roads will not be maintained. So the board at that time, I'm assuming it was actionable, I don't know, said that we will not just universally accept the roads of a plat. It will be put on, before they file it, they're going to acknowledge they're going to be privately maintained before we'll file it. And that's the procedure in place now. They bring their plat, we look at it, we make sure that that's on there before it ever comes to this board. What Lowell is saying, in his opinion, is that's perfectly okay, and that at a later date, which has happened, this board could come back and say, we will maintain those roads. But I think we're hitting a wall between really what was meant by this road standard. And I think the direction we need to go is to determine this that was done in 1975, if it is still supposed to be applicable, and if so, then we need to revise it, and we need to get real with the fact.
I agree with that, but I also will make a statement that that is the last road standard that I know of that was approved by the Board of Commissioners.
That I have seen, yes.
Okay, so short of saying, and I would never ever say this with a straight face, that ODOT standard is what we'll go by in the county, because I believe that we've determined what our road standards are going to be here, is I agree that we need to modify that to fit what our standards are today in light of also enforcing those road standards on our new plats as they come in. And requiring, yes ma'am.
Well, the one follow-up to what Lowell has pointed out here is that this board has various, as Marvin said, opportunities to try to make a developer conform. And bonds are an option, as he said, that they're a pain in the butt, because how long are you going to bond for? What's the extent of that? But Lowell did state that this board could, with his help, draft an affidavit that would be required of a developer to be attached to the plat, swearing and attesting that the roads, when built and developed with this plat, will meet the county road standard. I think that that's the best answer for long term. But I think that this board has to decide what those standards are going to be.
I agree. And because that way we're not running into a bunch of legalese, and the county clerk doesn't have to maintain a suspense file on, okay, it's been 8.5 years since this plat was filed and this road's built and this one's not, and it can get really, really confusing. So that would give, I believe that statement would be legal enough, especially if drafted by Lowell, to where the people that live in that housing community can go back and take legal action against the builder if if they weren't built to county road standards, or the standards that we come up with in the future to do that.
That was going to be my next thing. What are we going to do? Run out there and inspect?
No.
Well, and there you go, you're on private land, see. So, what we do is we certify that this plat is according to everything. If we don't certify it, then it doesn't go in the file. You're still going to be selling lots.
Troy, I like the idea of the affidavit.
Yeah.
I think, and I spoke with Lowell about that, and he agreed that he thinks that for the long term is the best direction to go. However, what has to be determined, and what we're still trying to figure out, if they're statutorily addressed. Because it says in what he's pulled out and what I've looked at, yeah, they have to build them to standard. It doesn't say anything about a duration. Now, for instance, as a comparison, the bid that we awarded for this mile of road, because the cost was over $50,000, it fell under a different statute and a different mandate by law. And one of those mandates says that this vendor will provide a performance and maintenance bond to guarantee that roadway for the next year. 1 year is all that the vendor is required to back up this mile of roadway that we awarded earlier. I think if that's the standard for for the county to hire out and build a road, I think we're gonna have to look within those realms of what restrictions do we put on a developer? And if that has, because that's gonna have to be spelled out in an affidavit, or someone's gonna think for the next 100 years, you can't do that either. So those are some of the things that I think we still have to clarify to move
I
forward.
agree. And even along those lines, I mean, the county can adopt road standards for developments, separate from county roads.
New developments.
Well, I think we need to put that on the agenda to discuss that.
I agree. And, yeah, we need to put it on the agenda for an action item to go over what we believe the standard should be. And then, with an action item to adopt those standards.
But that'd be for all public roads, so now we're gonna have to do the section line roads the same way, right?
I think that's what we're saying, we were gonna have to clarify, because we have one other little weirdness, and that is you have these unrecorded plats, and they are building roads, and because they would not be officially done, they wouldn't qualify. We have unrecorded plats that are allowed in this state, and
That's right.
and I think that sometimes it's difficult for commissioners, and I'm not saying this board, it's any board anywhere, when you have, as Marvin's pointed out, you have your citizens calling and wanting the roads repaired because this road got built. There's no plat, there's no record of it. As far as any of us are concerned, it's just dirt out there in this section line.
It's a driveway.
Section area. So that might be something as well that needs to be looked at. I would recommend if we can get some more clarification as to the requirements that would be placed on the developer and what parameters, and build off of that.
So I understand here that what we're talking about is that these developers will no longer be able to put in gravel roads if they want their plat to be accepted. So that's one of the things we probably ought to discuss. Because I got a lot of those.
I don't think it says that at all.
Okay.
I mean,
A plat to be planted has to be brought up to county standards. If county standards is 3 inches of asphalt and 6 inches of gravel.
but we don't have that on all of our county roads now.
Exactly.
That's the problem. I think that we have to have.
Exactly. So you got a double standard here. You're telling them they got to do a really nice
I
road.
think we're saying the same thing.
Yeah,
That's
we
why
are.
We've got to redo these standards.
Redo.
Right. I think that's what we're
I
talking about.
agree. And I don't think we're
And,
holding it.
and back to what, Lowell was saying as far as, at the bottom of this first page of paragraph 2, require the developer to provide adequate assurance that the roads will be, and he understands, underlined, will be built, right, according to the road
Okay.
standards adopted by the county. And he underlined in that first paragraph, designed, right, that they're designed to meet county road standards and will be built according to. And those are all future events, I think is what he's pointing out.
Right.
And so, that's an assurance that sometime in the future when this plat is executed and built out completely, that will happen, or there's assurance that that's what their intent is. And to that point, again, we need to fix our standards that we're going to enforce.
Right.
But I think we really need to start looking at that, and that'll help with our issue, because we're growing very, very fast in
Oh, yeah.
south part of the
Sprawl.
county,
Urban
and
sprawl, big
we
time.
need to get a handle on that, and
Yeah.
I think this is a good thing. But anyway,
Right. Well, the whole idea is to help the most people that we can.
so
So no action on 10?
so when do we? I think the action would be, when do we want to come back and talk about our road standards?
We'll do it on the 7th.
Okay.
That'd be early way. We don't have much on the menu, so
It would be the 6th.
the 6th, whatever.
That's next Monday. I mean, is that a little quick to have this pulled together, or?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just.
15th is fine. I mean, the middle of the month's fine with me.
We need Lowell here for it.
I don't think so. I think he's already pretty much told us.
I mean, I haven't
Troy,
had
do
a
you
chance
think
to
he needs
read
to
it.
be here?
I don't know that he needs to be here. I'd like to run through
whatever, after we get it come up with. My biggest question right now is trying to determine if there's a section in a law that sets legally what the minimum standards that apply here outside of SERP. That's what I think we need to determine.
So,
I don't think there is. I think
No.
each county can set their own standards.
Yeah. That's my opinion also. I mean,
So you're asking-
research some of it.
so Troy, are you asking, is there a state statute that requires, that sets
The
sets
reason,
minimum standards
Right.
for a county?
and the only reason
already.
that I'm bringing that up is this resolution that was done in 1975 was based on a statutory requirement. What it doesn't clarify, it says, whereas the 1975 legislature of the state of Oklahoma did enact House Bill 1431, which requires that each county in Oklahoma adopt minimum standards for streets. What I'd like clarified is that could be anything off the top of y'all's heads that you would like, or is there a minimum that the state is driving? And the reason I question that is I find it hard to believe in 1975, as rural as this county was at that time,
As
that
redneck as these commissioners were at that time.
that these standards that they adopted were of their own free making and not statutorily driven. And that is why I said I think we need to clarify what leeway this board has to develop their own, or is there a minimum requirement already in place? Because looking at this resolution in 75, I find it hard to believe that this was the will of the board at the time.
So I could speculate.
I've seen standards around the state in different counties, and I've never seen that. There's a lot of counties that do it a lot
And it
different.
doesn't include concrete or
No.
chip seal or anything like that. It's just
All right, let's-
asphalt.
What is it, Martin?
I mean, I could speculate on what you're saying there, but I think this House Bill 1431 required that counties adopt a standard.
No standard.
And I think probably at that time, the three commissioners went to somewhere else, whether it was ACO or whatever, and they recommended a standard. I don't believe that there's anything in legislation that requires each a minimum standard, but it's worth looking at, and I agree with you on that. So we'll bring that up. We'll put that on. I recommend we put that on our agenda for the 6th as well, to run that rat in the hole, and then adopt some minimum standards. And I think that we need to have a couple of different standards depending upon the type of roads that we're building, right? So, I mean, we build gravel roads and we build asphalt roads. We don't build concrete roads very often, but I guess we could have a set of standards for those as well. But
A lot of additions I have coming in right now are concrete. I got one old one down there on Waterloo. Yes, sir. So concrete needs to be in there.
Oh my, are we done beating this little horse?
I think that rat's pretty flat.
So we're gonna put it on the agenda for the 6th.
Let's go to the elephant.
So no action today. So we'll move to item 11, consideration of possible action on approving a resolution accepting Susan Circle in 2815 North, 1 West to District 2 for maintenance as time and money allows.
Right, these people are needing some help. And true, you know, they've been there for 30 years. They know what's going on. There's 4 families on in this little cul-de-sac off of South Bart, which we've already accepted. You know, they just needed a little help with blading, and they bought some material.
Is this in a subdivision?
Yes,
What
So the
division?
I don't remember what the name of the division is. But we can double check it if you want to. Wait this. Wait until we get some standards. But, you know, we got a lot of dirt gravel roads out here on
a lot of these little additions. And our mandate is to help you the best that we can. So it's a public road, is my understanding. So here we are. Do you want to put that off until
Well,
our
my
next meeting?
question is, I mean, we just went through all this, does it meet county standards?
You mean, is it paved with curb and gutters? No.
That's what, I don't think we can accept it unless it is,
Why?
because it don't meet county standards.
Those were all county standards that we are not going by or haven't been for quite some
That's what we
time.
have in place.
And that was why we had Rob Hudson in here at a meeting, and he said that we're not beholden to past commissioners. We need to do this each time.
So
we
are
have
you making a motion or not?
You don't know what subdivision this is in?
I don't. Let me go ahead and put that off, please.
Number 12, consideration of possible action on approving a resolution accepting $200 donation from Uprising Entertainment to the Sheriff's Department for filming in the old jail. I'll move with approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. Consideration and possible action on approving a resolution accepting the $1,500 donation from Kendra Beaver.
Motion, please.
Say it again.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Now I know.
Consideration and possible action on approving the detention transportation claims. I'll move to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Norman did.
Oh, sorry.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries.
This is,
We're getting there.
okay.
Could you beat your head around the phone and tell Sarah to call my shop, tell them to call Terry Meeson, and I'm at a meeting.
Sarah, would you call out at District 3 shop and tell them to call Terry Meeser and
I
tell
ring
Terry
my
that
phone
she's
like
on
this.
the meeting?
It's a buzz in your pocket.
15 is consideration of possible action on canceling stale dated warrants. If there's stale dates, I'll move that we approve canceling.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the motion carries. 16, consideration of possible action on approving the following permanent road crossing permits. I have them right here.
Sure, gonna be messing paving up.
Do what?
Oh, they're going along Forest Hill. They're gonna, it's problematic anyway.
Talking about this pipeline here?
Yeah, they're paralleling Forest Hill, and from what I'm told, they don't have the power of eminent domain, so as a consequence, they're going back and forth across Forest Hill.
Well, this particular pipeline here is in District 3.
Well, okay, this first one was, part of it was and part of it was not. Okay. That was one of them. That was for a post in Forest Hill. I was talking about.
Should have talked a lot today.
To be honest with you, I think those are the ones that we were on this item, and those two are the temps that follow. So if he was speaking of the agenda item and you were looking at the permit, we're different.
That's true.
All right.
Right there it says,
Do we have
Forest Hills, South Post,
the one that you signed with there?
for one of them. Need to read.
I did read the damn thing.
Oh, I wouldn't know. Okay. You're fine.
Read that one. 17, did we make a motion and vote on that? I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 17, consideration of possible action on approving the following temporary road crossing permits.
Got a motion?
I do not.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed. Consideration of possible action on consent agenda items.
Transfers. That's Mike, Department of Commerce for the CDBG grant came in yesterday.
Yay. Works for me. Oh, crap. Well,
No, you signed? Yeah.
did I? Oh, okay, I saw the excise form.
On 18.
Yep, consent agenda.
So that'll go in.
Next week. It was just in the nick of time for next week.
Gotcha. Yes.
You know, Troy, I thought that those bids for the millings for hauling them off, I thought it would be cheaper if the asphalt companies caught and kept them,
They wanted to be paid both ways.
because they charge an awful lot to the county if we buy millings from them. I just couldn't believe that.
It's a money-making deal.
Make money on both sides.
Well, they charge us more to haul them off, and then they charge us more to haul them back if we want to buy them.
I guess we're paying for all of it then.
Are they getting overstocked?
No, I don't think they're getting overstocked. Because they don't sell them as millings, they use them back in asphalt, recycle.
Marvin, I will check with Tile. I don't know how fast they'll be able to turn around so that we can approve this. Because the contract will have to be done, they'll have to get all their bonds put together, and I don't know that we can make that happen by the 6th.
Okay.
It may be the 15th.
Well, as long as we can get it done before ground freezes solid.
I promised you we would have this bid open before November.
Yes, ma'am, you did, and I appreciate that. You met your promise.
Well, they're predicting La Nina, which means that we're going to be drier and warmer.
It's supposed to be 80 degrees on Sunday.
Yep.
What about Saturday?
77.
Wow.
Yeah, it starts Thursday and goes about a 5-day span, which is good because I think I'm going to be house painting.
Outside? Yeah, be a good weekend for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to hit, my last opportunity, and I've got no choice. I got to do it.
Is that Tish that just went by on a cane?
Yes.
2 canes.
What's up?
She's had knee surgery.
Wow. Yeah, she's an ice pack on her ankle too.
Oh, I like going around.
So if y'all want to, pick up a paintbrush.
Like a sprayer?
I go feed the
No,
hog-
I've thought
feed the
about
hogs.
buying one, but it's a small house.
Yeah. Gotta do more taping off and stuff probably.
Consent. So,
Oh, alcohol and beverage. I'm trying to rustle up free help. What's wrong with you?
I don't think you're making it very far to them.
I'm thinking so.
Does it come with lunch?
I can volunteer the sheriff.
That I could probably handle.
I think the sheriff would love to be there.
I want to show.
Is he gonna buy lunch?
The sheriff, and he'll even buy your lunch and pay your house.
Think you can get the inmates to come over?
No,
Come on.
that's not even that is a bad joke.
Said it was outside.
I move we approve it, Tim.
Thank you.
Second motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion carries. 19, consideration of possible action on approving claims for payment for October 2017.
Should put some flyers up at the high school for $8 an hour.
They laugh at you.
Yeah, these days I guess.
I'll get it done somehow. I know how. It's a temporary fix till I can get it recited, so.
semi. Hate when that happens.
Can't believe he did send to us. Had a 10-ton that was underestimated.
I'll move we approve 19. Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 20, any citizen desiring to be heard? Hearing none. 21, comments and then questions or announcements and questions by the Board of County Commissioners. If you would, don't forget to put that on the agenda for a coach field service, please. That's all I got.
The uniform guy called and we're looking for that contract that we would have to sign, see if we can figure out how they're saving so much money. But so much for that. We'll see.
I just want to thank Troy for helping put that bid together, because that was a complicated thing to do, and I think the county got the best bang for the buck out of that deal. Thanks, Troy.
I'll second it.
22, consideration possible action on adjournment.
So motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed, motion carries.